This is the story of young Joe Joyce, how this young Irish traveller from a prominent Irish traveller family would fight, feud, and supporters hope one day soon will be freed. It is a story shaped by bare-knuckle fighting, long-running disputes,
Drive them into me! I love it! I love it! I love it!
This is for young Joe Joyce, and this is not going for young Joe. This is going for every travelling man in the country. Dorothy's everyone. I will fight them. Bring them to me, and I'll show you, Joe, what a Simon McKinley is made out of.
prison, and a life sentence handed down for a murder charge that many believe should have been manslaughter. Some arguing that long-standing discrimination against travellers may have played a part in how harshly the case was judged. This is not just one man's story. It is the story of a name, a lineage, and a culture where fighting was never a choice. It was an inheritance. Born into a fighting bloodline, Joseph Joyce Jr. was born in 1990 to Big Joe Joyce.
I'm no peace. I'm no peace. I'm good for nothing about you. I'm getting you, mate. I'm not fit, but I'm getting you. I'm getting you, mate.
From the moment he came into the world, Joe Jr. was surrounded by reputation. His father, Big Joe Joyce, was one of the most well-known Irish traveller fighters of his era, an entertaining, feared, and respected figure with countless bare-knuckle fights behind his name. Among travellers, Big Joe was more than a fighter. He was a character, a presence, a man whose name carried weight wherever he went. Big Joe was known by the nickname the Hulk. It was a name earned through size, strength, and fearlessness, and one that would later be passed down to his son. Joe Joyce Jr., the Hulk. The Joyce family produced fighters across generations, both professionally and in the underground world. Fighting was not something spoken about in theory. It was lived, practiced, and proven. The Joyce family, roots and reputation. The Joyce name is deeply embedded in Irish traveller history. In modern times, the family is strongly associated with Moate and Mullingar, County Westmeath, where Big Joe Joyce became a well-known local figure. The wider Joyce clan, often referred to as the Boxing Joyces, has long-standing ties to Mullingar, a town synonymous with traveller boxing culture. But the roots go deeper. Big Joe has spoken openly about being reared on the side of the road, moving from ditch to ditch across Ireland as a child. His father was a tinsmith, a traditional traveller trade that demanded constant movement. Before settling in Westmeath, the Joyce name traces back to Joyce country, spanning parts of North Galway and South Mayo, an area historically linked to the Joyce surname. Though many of the family later moved to England, their Irish identity was never lost. Fighting culture, then and now. To understand Joe Joyce Jr., you have to understand the culture he came from. In recent years, many online personalities from the traveller community have gained attention by calling people out on social media, posting videos, issuing challenges, and rarely following through. Joe Joyce Jr. was different. He didn't just talk, he fought. By the time others were filming, Joe Jr. already had a long list of real fights behind him. Bare-knuckle fights, real disputes, real consequences. His reputation wasn't built online, it was built face-to-face. And with fighting came feuds. Long-running, deeply personal feuds that followed him from site to site, town to town. In the traveller world, feuds are never just about one man. They involve families, pride, and history stretching back years, sometimes decades. Fights increasingly stemmed from personal disputes rather than formal challenges. In traveller culture, arguments, if left unresolved, can quickly escalate into physical confrontations, especially when pride and family reputation are involved. Several of Joe Jr.'s fights are remembered not for titles or outcomes, but for what caused them. Words exchanged, boundaries crossed, or perceived disrespect. The McKinley feud, one of the most talked about ongoing disputes involving Joe Joyce Jr., was with members of the McKinley family.
Trevor McKinley, you're handicapped, lads. You're an embarrassment of people. Look, it's 2:10. You were meant to come here this morning, you meditate. It's not up in Lena Ward's page an hour and a half. I'm here now to fight Trevor. Where are you nobodies? You're terrified of me. You came here this morning at 7 o'clock and you meditate. You were chatting nobody, you were doing nothing. You're not fighting me, you're a show you are. But I'll make one thing better. If you ever do want to get the fight on, I'll go over and I'll give Paddy Doherty £2,000 kicking money. And I'll go to England and I'll beat you and we'll get a day sorted out.
Joe Joyce, you better tape 2 days ago or 3 days ago. I never got back there. I'm back here in the north now. I'm in the north now, yeah? If you want to get this over and done with, I don't need 6 weeks, I don't need 12 months, I don't need a month, I don't need a day to train for you, Joe. I can beat you in a second like that. In a second. Cogs McDonaghs is here. He'll show fair play. Today, tonight, or tomorrow. Get back to me now, Joe. Get your army or arguments or anyone. I don't want no army with me. I want you, Joe. Me and you can have a few clouts. Get this over and done with and put this to bed.
The Joyce-McKinley feud stretched over a period of time and involved multiple confrontations, some of which later appeared on YouTube. These encounters were not isolated incidents, but part of a wider family disagreement, with tensions building and resurfacing repeatedly.
Simon McGinty, I saw your tape there a few minutes ago. You said that you will not fight me on the 19th of April. You went along and you said on YouTube there, in a couple of DVDs that you made, that you'd fight me anytime, 3 months, 5 months, 6 weeks, tomorrow morning. You said the 6th of June, anytime you said you'd fight me. I come back and give you a date to fight on the 19th of April, which is 13 or 14 weeks time. The two of us will have no excuses. Let the best man win, which is me. You won't agree to that. You went along, you mentioned the Bumbies to show you fair play, I accepted it. You mentioned 50,000, I said I'll fight you for £20,000. You said come to England, I'm going to England.
Well lads, I came here today with £20,000 to fight Simon McKinley, to match the Nevins side. I can be no fair about it, I can 400 or 500 miles. As soon as I came here, Simon McKinley ran to Scotland. This man here was chatting McPhee a few minutes ago, Carmela. Carmela said that the man is willing to bring the McKinleys halfway from this side from Scotland for the meetings, for the fight. Amy's Barney, Simon and the other fella, Anthony, the three of them won't fight. Simon, you said that there one said that to be only one fight. If the other two Cowley brothers didn't want to fight, let me and you fight sometime today, Simon. Don't make a show of yourself for us. Go to Scotland go to Scotland for the rest of your life and wear the fucking skirts, the kilts, you fucking pussy.
Joe, I came the whole way back from England. You're only 40 mile away. Joe, if you want to get it on now today, I'm here in the hill. Cogs McDonaghs will show you the best of fair play, and it will show me the best of fair play. Get it on now and put this to bed, and I put you asleep. Asleep in 3 minutes. 3 minutes, I put you asleep.
And the cripple of a father is in it. Listen, now the old cripple. Here, I bet him 6 times.
There's Cogs McDonaghs.
Get him on with me.
There's Cogs McDonaghs to give you the best of fair play in the world.
Within the community, the feud was seen as another example of how long-standing disagreements can become entrenched, passed from argument to argument, fight to fight. As more footage surfaced online, Joe Joyce Jr.'s name became increasingly visible beyond the traveller community. Viewers unfamiliar with the background often saw only violence, not the history behind it. What outsiders interpreted as chaos, insiders understood as continuity. A life shaped by unresolved disputes and inherited expectations. By this point, feuds were no longer just personal. They were layered with history. By 2020, tensions between the Joyce family and the McDonaghs had reached a breaking point. This was not a feud played out in arranged bare-knuckle fights or refereed contests. It was domestic, close, and unavoidable. The two families lived back to back, separated only by a fence. What began as an argument over that shared boundary escalated into something far more serious. the day everything changed. On an evening in April 2020, following an argument earlier that day, 3 McDonagh men walked to Joe Joyce Jr.'s home. They did not come alone. They did not come empty-handed. According to evidence heard in court, the men were armed with multiple weapons, including bladed tools and household implements. CCTV footage later shown to the jury captured the moment they approached the property. Joe Joyce Jr. was by himself. What followed was chaotic and fast-moving. The defense argued that Joe Joyce Jr. believed he was about to be seriously harmed. He later told the court that he felt terrified and believed he was fighting for his life. There was no referee, no agreed rules, no opportunity for a traditional resolution. This was not a sanctioned fight. It was a sudden confrontation at a man's home. The prosecution argued that Joe Joyce Jr. had opportunities to retreat and instead armed himself. They relied heavily on the history between the families, presenting the incident not as a spontaneous act, but as the culmination of a long-running feud. The defense argued the opposite, that he acted only at the very end, that the injury inflicted was not intended to kill, and that the situation met the legal threshold for self-defense or, at most, manslaughter. Experts and commentators later noted that in many other cases with similar circumstances, multiple attackers, weapons involved, and a single defendant, manslaughter verdicts have been returned. Despite these arguments, the jury found Joe Joyce Jr. guilty of murder. The judge acknowledged being familiar with feuds in the traveller community, but ruled that the prosecution had proven intent beyond reasonable doubt, largely due to the historical animosity between the families. Joe Joyce Jr. was sentenced to life imprisonment. In court, his family broke down. Supporters maintained he never intended to kill anyone. The McDonagh family mourned a son, brother, and father. A reputation on both sides. It is important to understand that both families carried reputations. The McDonaghs were also well known within the traveller community, with a deep history in bare-knuckle fighting. One of their relatives, James McDonagh, was regarded as one of the most formidable fighters of his generation. This was not a story of one violent family and one innocent one. It was a story of 2 proud lineages, shaped by the same traditions, colliding in the worst possible way. And what makes this tragedy even heavier is what lies beneath the surface. The Joyces, the McDonaghs, and the Nevins are all related, linked by blood, marriage, and shared ancestry. Families divided by feuds that stretch back years, yet tied together by the same roots. Children grew up watching adults inherit old conflicts. Arguments became identity. Pride became irreversible.
And is that the end of the business between the Joyces and the Quinn McDonaghs?
Well, I'd like to see it was. I'd love to see that being an end of it all. But that just keeps it going. That just keeps it going, and it's sad to see that.
The final truth. No one truly won. One man is dead. Another is serving life in prison. Families on both sides live with loss that cannot be undone. And what is the saddest part of all this is that they are all related. The Joyces, the McDonaghs, and the Nevins. A single argument over a fence ended in a tragedy that will echo through generations. If you enjoyed the documentary, please like and share. It really helps support the channel. And don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.